Good morning guys, let's continue our lecture. Dito tayo ngayon sa multi-reaction equilibria. So, in POC and even in analytical chemistry, majority of the reactions that you encounter is just a one-step reaction. In analytical chemistry, uh, you might also have encountered yung multi-step reaction, especially for metal ligand complexation as well as in acid-base chemistry, where polyprotic acid loses its hydrogen to form anions. So somehow, may idea na kayo kung ano yung mga multi-reaction system. However, in today's topic, our focus is multi-reaction equilibria. In physical chemistry, there are two possible approaches in dealing with multi-reaction equilibria. The first approach is via Gibbs-free energy minimization, and the second one is similar to what you have learned in analytical chemistry, and maybe even in POC. If you have a set of chemical species and their initial concentration, and you know their rate constant or equilibrium constant, you can calculate the equilibrium composition by solving systems of equations. And the other one is yung ang paggamit ng Gibbs-free energy minimization. The use of Gibbs-free energy minimization is actually a very powerful way in dealing with multi-reaction equilibria, because you don't really need to have the rate constant or the equilibrium constant. You just need to know what are the initial species present in the system and yung initial number of moles of those species. You didn't even need to know what are the reactions happening. That's the power of Gibbs-free energy minimization. So, when reaction occurs simultaneously, equilibrium constant expression must be written in terms of the equilibrium extent of individual reactions. And since the Gibbs-free energy of the system is a sum of the contributions of the various species, the equilibrium composition can be calculated by minimizing the extensive Gibbs-free energy of the system defined in the following equation. G is a summation of mu I and I, where mu I is the chemical potential and n sub I is the number of moles. So this is subject to the constraint that the total number of atoms of each element is constant. So that is why nagkaroon tayo last time ng review ng math. What are the things that we talked about last time? How to find the extremum points, or either the maxima or the minima of a function. Like how to find yung either maxima or minima of this function. You need to first evaluate yung kanyang derivative, equate that to 0, and then solve for x. For a multivariate function, you need to do the same. Function of multiple variables, in this case, x na may arrow is a vector. You need to know yung partial derivative of x with respect to each component. Equate that to 0, and let's say you have n, I goes from 1 to n, you will have n equations and n unknowns. Then you can solve the value of x sub I at this condition. Now we're going to use that technique in this discussion, and take note, for constraint optimization, last time for constraint optimization, if you have a function f of x where x is a vector of variable, and let's say you have a constraint g of x is equals to 0, you need to define a new variable L, which is the sum of f of x plus some undetermined multiplier. Let's put this as g sub I, lambda sub I, g sub I, which is a function of the same set of variables, and then we need to sum it up from I is equals to 1 to n. This will be our objective function. Objective function. This is what we're going to do now. And then to find the maxima or minima of this function, you need to differentiate L with respect to x. Equate that to 0. This will be, actually, this is n derivatives or n equation. And then you also need to take the derivative of L with respect to the lambdas. Equates to 0. This is m equations, where m is the number of constraints. So let's do that now. So in multi-reaction equilibria, meron tayong tinatawag na element conservation. It is expressed as B sub k is a summation of AK sub I and sub I, where AK sub I is the number of atoms of element K in a species I. B sub k is the total number of element K, and N sub I is the number of species. As of the moment, this may seem big to you, pero later, magbibigay ako ng example about this equation. Then, from there, you will understand what this is telling us. So, B sub k is the number of element K. Number of element. This is the number of atoms of element K in chemical species I, and N sub I is the number of species I. So let's take a look at the following matrix. So in the previous slide, we have this equation: B sub k is equal to the summation of AKI multiplied by NI. Of course, we can transpose this BK to the right hand side of the equation, and that will give us summation of AKI NI minus B sub k is equals to 0. This is actually the constraint. This is one of the G sub x constraint I mentioned before. This is equals to 0. Anyway, let's talk about this first. So, let's say you have a container containing carbon monoxide, hydrogen gas, carbon dioxide, water, and methane. Among those components in your container, what are the unique elements present in those chemicals? Of course, meron kang carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? So, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen are the elements present in all of this. Wala nang iba. Now, we can create a table, such as this one, where the columns are the chemical species and the rows are the elements. Then the entries of this table is just the number of elements for that particular chemical species. So for carbon monoxide, we only have one carbon. For hydrogen, we have 0 carbon. For carbon dioxide, we have 1 carbon. For water, we have 0 carbon. For methane, we have 1 carbon. For hydrogen, so carbon monoxide, walang hydrogen. Hydrogen gas, dalawang hydrogen. Carbon dioxide, no hydrogen. Water molecule, 2 hydrogen. Methane, 4 hydrogen. And of course, for oxygen, carbon monoxide, isang oxygen. Hydrogen gas, walang oxygen. Carbon dioxide, 2 oxygen. Water has 1 oxygen, and methane has no oxygen. So after creating this table, you can create this equation. So as you can see here, B sub C, B sub H, and B sub O, those are the number of elements. Number of mole of each element. So number of moles of carbon, number of moles of hydrogen, number of moles of oxygen is related to the number of moles of each of these. How? Of course, ito na yung relationship. For the number of carbon, moles of carbon is equal to 1 times mole of carbon monoxide plus 0 times mole of hydrogen plus 1 times mole of carbon dioxide plus 0 times mole of water plus 1 times mole of CH4. It is like you multiply this coefficient to the number of moles of this. So we have 1 NCO, 0 NH2, 1 NCO, 0 NH2, 1 CO2, 0 H2O, 1 CH4. Okay? Those contributes to the number of moles of carbon. And for hydrogen, moles of hydrogen is equals to 0 CO2, 2 H2, 0 CO2, 2 H2O, and then 4 CH4. Okay? So I hope it is now clear to you what is meant by this expression. Bk is equal to the summation of AKI and sub I. Now, you can transform this equation into like this. Paano? You just have to remove ito. And then minus BC is equals to 0. Minus BH is equals to 0. And minus B sub 0 is equals to 0. Then, it looks like this now. So, I hope that's clear. So, this method can be solved by Lagrange undetermined multipliers. In this method, the atom balance equation is this. RH multiplied by a Lagrange multiplier, lambda k, 1 for each element, and added to G. So what does that statement means? Our original function in the previous slide is this. So we can define a new variable L, which is the summation of this. This G. So we have summation of mu I and I plus the constraint. The constraint, ito is a 0, right? If you have a function f of x plus 0, that is still f of x. So L So our original function is the Gibbs free energy defined as summation ng mu I and I. So we define a new variable L and equate that to G plus something 0. This is 0, right? Based on this equation. We are adding 0 to that, then we are not really changing the Gibbs free energy equation. We are just adding constraint. This constraint is multiplied by lambda k. What does that mean? For each of the atom balance equation, ito kanina, na may naka-minus na BC, minus BH, and minus BO, lahat yan is equals to 0. Inimumultiply natin siya by their own coefficient lambda k. And that serves as the constraint to the optimization problem. Ano yung optimization problem natin? Finding the equilibrium composition by minimizing the Gibbs free energy equation. So I hope that's clear. If not, you need to go back to our previous lecture, yung last week, and then review yung mathematical concepts that we talked about last time. And of course, if you understand that, then this will be pretty easy to understand. Let's move on to the next. So, as I mentioned before, we will define a new variable L. And that new variable L is the sum of the function we are minimizing. This is actually the Gibbs free energy plus the constraint. These are the constraint, the atom balance equation constraint. So once again, we need to take the derivative of this L with respect to the composition. Bakit? Kasi we want to find yung composition at equilibrium. The composition at equilibrium is the composition that minimizes the Gibbs free energy subject to the atom balance constraint. So, we need to differentiate this equation with respect to Ni. And then we also need to differentiate that equation with respect to lambda k. Kasi lambda k are the multipliers of the constraint. So, taking the derivative with respect to Ni. So, derivative nito with respect to Ni, ito muna. Kinukuha kong derivative with respect to Ni. This part of the equation becomes this. Ang derivative ng summation ng Ni, ng mu I Ni is actually mu I. I'm not going to prove it. The proof is on the next slide. But it is not simply, take note that this is not really because mu I is a constant. No. The proof is in the next slide. But you can think of it like we are just differentiating with respect to Ni. Pero not really as easy as that. It's not really as easy as that. So let's continue. So your left-hand side becomes this. And the derivative of this becomes this one. And yung derivative nito with respect to Ni, anong nangyari? This is the result. Bakit kaya? Kasi lambda k is a constant with respect to Ni. And of course, lalabas na yan. And ito lang i-differentiate natin. Ang derivative ng bk is 0. How about this? Anong derivative nito? Ang derivative ng aki Ni is only aki. Eh bakit nawala yung summation? Bakit dito dalawang summation and dito isa na lang? Kasi yung loob, ano ba yung summation ng aki and I? That is, let's say, ak1 and 1 plus ak2 and 2 plus ... plus aki and I plus ... In this summation, isa lang dyan yung may aki and I. Everything else sa derivative, magiging 0 except doon sa term na may aki and I. Kaya, yung summation sign mawawala. What is left is only the derivative of aki and I is aki. So, I hope that's clear. How about if we take the derivative of this with respect to lambda k? Yung left hand side naging derivative ng L with respect to lambda k, and then ito naging 0 kasi wala siyang lambda k. May 0 dyan. This part is 0. And then ito, may lambda k. Ang natira na lang ay ito na lang kasi lambda k lang to. Ang natira na lang is yung summation sa loob. Actually, this is supposed to have this close and open parenthesis. So, let me put that first para now, from this equation and this equation, what can we do? From our previous lectures, alam natin definition ng chemical potential. Our chemical potential is actually mu I is mu I naught plus RT ln ng x sub I. Okay? And yung x sub I is actually moles of I over n total. So that is this, right? N sub I over n total or summation of Ni. N total is the summation of Ni. Now, you might be wondering, why do we have this delta GF sub I naught? Because actually, this is equivalent to that. Why? That is the reference Gibbs free energy, and this is the reference chemical potential. And usually, ang reference Gibbs free energy is that one. The reference Gibbs free energy formation is tabulated at the back of physical chemistry books. And since we know that mu sub I for mixtures, it is equal to the partial molar Gibbs free energy. And for pure substance, U sub I is just G over the number of moles. And in Gibbs free energy table, the Gibbs free energy formation is defined as molar Gibbs free energy formation. So what you have in physical chemistry book is similar to the chemical potential knot. Okay, so in short, mu I naught is of course equals to G sub I over N, or G sub I naught. This is what you have in at the back of your physical chemistry book. The tabulation of the Gibbs free energy formation is usually for molar Gibbs free energy formation, which is equivalent to mu I naught. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Now let's proceed. So we can look at this equation. This mu I, we replace mu I with this. So mu I From this equation, mu I becomes delta gi plus RTL and ng n sub I over summation of n sub I. Now, plus this. That is still here. So, this part, we still have it here in this equation down here. And this mu I is now replaced with this right-hand side. I'm not sure if you understand. What I'm trying to say is this equation comes from this, where mu I is replaced with this with its equivalent expression. So I hope that's clear enough. So delta G of formation plus RTL and ng n sub I over summation ng n sub I plus lambda k AKI is equals to 0. We can divide this entire equation by 1 over RT by RT, and the result is delta G over RT plus summation of Ni over plus Ln ng n sub I over summation ng Ni plus lambda k bar AKI is equals to 0. Ano nangyari, guys? Nagkaroon to ng over RT. Ito, nawala ang RT. Dito, wala ng RT. And dito, ano nangyari? Yung AKI naging, yung lambda k, naging lambda k prime. Meaning to say, lambda k prime is lambda k over RT. So these are the equations that we need to solve multi-reaction equilibria using Gibbs-free energy minimization. So this is the equation coming from Gibbs-free energy minimization, and these are the constraints. So how do we use this equation? So by the way, the proof that the derivative of this with respect to Ni is just mu I is shown in this derivation. I'm not going to go through in this derivation. I'm letting you go through on this slide on your own. So it's good to understand what's happening in this slide. But if not, what you just really need are these two equations. You need to know how to use these two equations. It looks bizarre, right? It looks complicated, but with a nice example, you'll find this very easy. So the derivation I'm telling you, hindi pa siya tapos doon sa previous slide. Hanggang dito pa siya natapos. Pero anyway, we're moving on to the example. So here we have a sample problem. A mixture of 2 moles of CH4 and 3 moles of H2O reacts at equilibrium at 1000 Kelvin and 1 bar. What is the equilibrium composition, assuming the only species present at equilibrium are CH4, H2O, CO, H2, and CO2? So how can we solve this problem? So let me show you step by step. for you to better understand what's going on. So in that problem, we have a mixture of 2 moles CH4 and 3 moles water. So this mixture reacts at equilibrium at 1000 Kelvin and pressure is 1 bar. So the question is, what is the equilibrium composition assuming the only species present at equilibrium are the equilibrium products are CH4, or the species present at equilibrium are CH4, water, carbon monoxide, hydrogen gas, and carbon dioxide. So the question is, how can we even calculate the equilibrium composition? We don't really know what are the reactions happening. What we know is that we mix 2 moles of methane plus 3 moles of water at 1000 Kelvin and 1 bar, and at equilibrium we only have methane, water, carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and CO2. So paano kaya to nakuha? Pwedeng gas chromatography or pwede rin qualitative test. How can we find the equilibrium composition? So the first step is to determine the number of moles. Of course, we mix 3 moles of CH4 and 2 moles of CH4 and 3 moles of water. How many moles of carbon do we have? N carbon or B carbon. Carbon will only be coming from this. Even after the reaction, the total number of moles of carbon will be the same as the number of moles of carbon before the reaction happened, right? So, since ang carbon manggagaling lang sa CH4, the total number of moles of carbon is only 2 moles. How about moles of hydrogen? Hydrogen will be coming from 2 moles CH4 and 3 moles H2O. So sa CH4, we have 2 moles multiplied by, there are 4 hydrogen in CH4. So 2 times 8 plus we have 3 moles of water. And in water, we have 2 moles of hydrogen. Total number of moles of hydrogen is, hydrogen coming from CH4, this is 4 only. So 4 times 2 is 8. And 3 times 2 is 6. We have 14 moles of carbon. How about the number of moles of oxygen? Saan manggagaling yung oxygen? Only on water. So, since we have 3 moles of water, the total number of moles of oxygen is only 3 moles. So, we now know that BC is 2, BH is 14, and B oxygen is 3. We can now write yung atom balance equation. Ano yung atom balance equation natin? Let's say for carbon muna tayo. Carbon. So ano-ano yung contributor sa carbon? We have CH4, CO, and CO2. Those are the contributors to carbon, right? So, sa isang carbon, sa isang methane, meron kang 1 mole of carbon, right? So we have 1 multiplied by NCH4 plus sa carbon monoxide, meron kang isang carbon. 1 times N carbon monoxide plus carbon dioxide, meron kang isang carbon. 1 times N CO2. That is equivalent to the total number of carbon, which is 2 moles. So, isa-subtract ko na siya, minus 2 is equals to 0. Lahat ng carbon manggagaling lang kasi sa initial number of moles ng carbon. How about for hydrogen? Ang may hydrogen, ito at ito. So, sa water, meron kang 2 moles of hydrogen in water. So, 2 times NH2O plus, sa hydrogen, meron ka rin 2 times NH2 minus 14. Minus 14 is equals to 0. And for oxygen, manggagaling lang siya dito, dito, at dyan. For water, 1 NH2O. For carbon monoxide, 1 NCO. And for carbon dioxide, plus 2 NCO2. And total number of moles of oxygen is 3. So minus 3 is equals to 0. These are the constraints. Atom balance constraint. Atom balance equation. So how about yung gas free energy? In the previous slide, nakuha natin yung delta G of formation not over RT plus ln ng N sub I over summation ng N sub I or N total plus summation of AKI NI minus BK sorry summation of lambda I AKI is equals to 0. So how do we get this expression for each of these chemicals? So we already have the constraint that we need from the atom balance equation. Now we need to enumerate all of this. So it's not so difficult. So we just need to do for each. Let's say for methane, we need to write delta G of formation ng methane, CH4 over RT plus ln of Ni. Magsimula muna tayo sa methane, NCH4 over N total. N total is just the sum of the number of moles of each. Now, this is the hardest part, but it's not really hard. Since nag-start tayo sa methane, meron kang isang carbon. So, you just have to type 1 lambda C and sa methane, meron kang 4 na hydrogen. plus 4 lambda h is equal to 0. Lambda na may prime. Kasi, nakadivide na yun sa RT. So, we need to do that for water. Delta G of formation, H2O over RT plus Ln of NH2O over N total plus dalawang hydrogen, meaning 2 lambda H, isang oxygen, so plus lambda O is equals to 0. So it's not so difficult. As I mentioned before, even though this expression looks bizarre, from this example, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to write your own expression given a list of chemical species. So for carbon monoxide, delta G of formation ng carbon monoxide over RT plus Ln of NCO over N total plus sa carbon monoxide may isang carbon, so plus 1 lambda C prime at meron kang isang oxygen plus 1 lambda O prime. Pag 1, pwede nyo nang i-omit yung 1. And then, of course, you need to do that for hydrogen gas and CO2 as well. And that is what we have in these expressions here. So I hope that's clear. So what you need to memorize for multi-reaction equilibria is this one and this one. You just need to be able to write them. So what if we can write all of them? The question is, what is equilibrium composition? Of course, you just need to get yung delta G, corresponding delta G from Gibbs free energy table at the back of physical chemistry book. Dito nakalagay na yung mga delta G. So, how many unknowns do we have, by the way? The number of moles, right? Number of moles of each of the elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unknowns. How many equations do we have? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many constraints? Ito yung constraint, 1, 2, 3. So, we have enough equation to solve for the equilibrium composition. But how? This is a system of nonlinear equation subject to the following constraint. You cannot really do it manually using your calculator. However, you can use softwares like Python to solve for the equilibrium composition. So here in this slide, we have a snippet of a Python script that makes use of SymPy. SymPy is a library in Python. If you still remember, I've introduced SymPy to you when we are discussing when I gave you an introduction to Python. So from SymPy, import everything, meaning we are importing all the libraries of SymPy in this Jupyter notebook. And then from SciPy, that optimized import fsolve. SciPy is a numerical library in Python that provides support to a lot of scientific calculations. So we need the command fsolve, and then here NumPy is imported as NP. So since we import SymPy, there is a command in SymPy named var. Var will let you create several variables. In this case, I made I created a variable n underscore t, that is n total number of moles. Here, NCH4 is the number of moles of CH4, NH2O is the number of moles of water, NCO is the number of moles of carbon monoxide, NCO2 is for carbon dioxide, NH2 is for hydrogen, and this LC, LH, and LO, what are those? This actually lambda C prime, this one is lambda H prime, and this is lambda O. So what I did in this line is just to declare all the variables that I need. If you still remember, what are the equations we are solving? What are the equations we are solving? These are the constraints. And these are the delta G's. So in this problem, I use R in kilocalories per mole Kelvin. The value of R is 0.00198,588 kilocalories per mole Kelvin. And in the problem, the temperature is 1000 Kelvin. And I define this variable RT as R times T. And I define yung N total as the sum of the number of moles of each of the chemical species present, methane plus water plus carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen. So, after this, eto na yung mga equations that we need to solve. Saan nanggaling to, guys? Yan yung nanggaling sa atom balance equation natin kanina. If you still remember, we have BC is 2, BH is 14, and BO is 3. So what is this? NCO plus NCO2 plus NCH4, these are the contributors to carbon, right? Minus 2, this is actually equal sa 0. That's the constraint. Summation of AKI NI minus BK is equal to 0. How about this line? These are the contributors to hydrogen. 2NH2 plus 2NH2O plus 4NCH4 minus 14, that is equals to 0, right? Kasi those are the contributors to hydrogen, and we know that there are only 14 moles of hydrogen in the mixture to begin with, so that is equal to 0. And the last, this line of code is telling us yung contributors naman sa oxygen. So NCO, 2NCO2 plus NH2O minus 3. So these are the contributors to oxygen. And of course, since we have initial number of moles of oxygen, then 0 yung kanyang difference. And these are the delta G expression. The first one is, papakita ko na lang. Ito yung delta G of formation not over RT of CH4 plus ln ng NCH4 over N total plus lambda C and for lambda H. We know that in CH4 we have isang carbon and then apat na hydrogen. That is why we have lambda C plus 4 lambda H. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now, after writing all those equations, in these codes. In this, so in this cell, I created a variable equations, and that equation variable is a list. That list contains all of these equations. And then in the next cell, I created a variable EQS with lambdify meaning it creates a function. Lambdify this equation here. Equation is at the last portion of the script. And all the variables in that equations are listed here as a list. Then I define a function deffunc x equations. So this part you don't really need to modify. If you are to solve a different problem, what you need to modify is of course this part, this this part, and all of this, as well as this. This part you don't really need to modify, and of course you don't really need to modify this. So I use the command fsolve, then this one you need to modify depending on the number. This number you need to modify. It depends on the number of composition you need to solve. In our case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 composition. Hindi kasali yung NT sa sinasolve natin. So that is the reason why we have 8 here. So if you run this, it will give us the composition at equilibrium. Ano yung order nitong composition na to? The order is the same order kung paano mo siya sinulat dito. The same order on this list. So we have at equilibrium 1.52 NCO, 5.79 NH2, 0.31 NCO, and so on. So just be consistent on the order. Here and here. So that's it. We just need to use a computer software such as Python to solve the equilibrium composition. Actually, you can also try it in Excel. It will also work. However, it's a lot easier in Python than in Excel. So your computational activity later will be similar to this. You need to solve for the equilibrium composition using this script, but for a different system. Now let's move on to determining a set of independent chemical reactions. So, as I mentioned already, there are two ways how to deal with multi-reaction equilibria. One is through Gibbs free energy minimization. That is what we did. And the other one is to solve for the equilibrium composition given yung chemical reactions and their corresponding equilibrium constant. That is what you are very familiar from principles of chemistry as well as in analytical chemistry. However, what if you don't know what are the list of reactions happening in the system? Of course, for simple system, you can guess. However, for very, very difficult system, you might not be able to enumerate all reactions happening. Luckily, there is a method to determine a set of independent chemical reactions happening in a multi-component system. Let's talk about determining independent chemical reactions. So I'm giving you a few minutes to try to absorb what is written in this slide. I-pause ko lang din saglit yung recording. So in this slide, our focus is on determining independent chemical reaction. So we are given a set of chemical species. These are chemical species reacting at equilibrium. Now, we don't really know what are the reactions happening. So, is there a way to determine a reasonable set of reaction happening in the system? Of course, the answer to that is yes. And that is what we are going to talk about this time. So, consider the system of components methane, water, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen gas, and ethylene. What are the reasonable reactions describing the system? So, to solve this problem, we need to define S as a list or a set of all the chemical species. In this case, we have 6 methane, methane, water, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and ethylene. And among these chemical species, there are only 3 unique elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So we have 6 component or 6 chemical species, and there are 3 elements or the unique elements that make up all of those 6 components. So we can define what is known as the atomic composition matrix. It is a matrix similar to what I've shown you before. This is just a tabulation of the chemical species and the elements. So the columns are the elements and the rows are the chemical species. This is the atomic composition matrix. And the entries of the matrix are the number of elements for that particular chemical species. So, for methane, ang carbon niya ay 1, ang hydrogen is 4, ang oxygen is 0. For water, ang carbon is 0, hydrogen is 2, oxygen ay 1. For carbon dioxide, carbon is 1, hydrogen is 0, and oxygen is 1. For carbon dioxide, carbon is 1, hydrogen is 0, and oxygen is 2. And so on. So that's how we build the atomic composition matrix. We just tabulate the number of elements present for each of the chemical species. That is the entries of the atomic composition matrix. So the atomic composition matrix is a matrix corresponding to the atom balance equation, or the coefficient of the atom balance equation a while ago. So the rank of this matrix is given the symbol rho B. Rho B is the rank of B. The rank is actually the lowest dimension. For this B matrix, atomic composition matrix, what are the dimensions of this matrix? The rows are, we have 6 rows, 6 by 3 columns, 6 by 3. And the lowest between 6 and 3 is 3. So the rank is 3. Rows of B, or the rank of this matrix is 3. Now, in isothermal system, the number of equations needed to solve the equilibrium composition is equal to S is equal to 6. And the number of independent reaction R is the number of independent reaction is equals to the number of element minus the rank of the atomic composition matrix. So in this case, we have 6 elements, 6 chemical species, and the rank is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. So we are to expect 3 reactions that will describe this system. 3 reactions only can describe the this reactive system. Ngayon, we don't really know what are those reactions. However, since this is a very small system, you can guess because you are a chemist. What if you are given a chemically reactive mixture consisting of 1,000, let's say a mixture of 100 chemicals na lang? Can you enumerate all the reactions happening in that mixture? It will be very difficult even for chemists. So that is the reason why we need techniques such as this one. So the number of independent reaction is equals to the number of chemical species minus the rank. And if the reactions are independent, then the rank is equal to the number of chemical species, or the number of reactions is equal to the rank if the reactions are independent. So in this system, we need to know A, or the stoichiometric matrix. So the first step is to determine the atomic composition matrix. And after that, we need to determine the stoichiometric matrix. So let's continue. The problem can now be defined as finding A such that B transpose A is equals to 0. That is the element and charge balance constraint. And rho of A plus rho of B is equals to S. That is the completeness relation. That only means that the rank of the atomic composition matrix plus the rank of the rank of the stoichiometric matrix, ito yon, plus the rank of the atomic composition matrix is equals to S, or the number of components. And rho of A is equals to R is the number of independents. If rho of A is equal to R, then the reactions are independent. So another criteria is that the reactions described in A must be simple and the reactions appear reasonable for experienced chemists and engineers. So actually, that's not really difficult how to determine all of the reactions. You only need to know the atomic composition matrix, and then you just have to transpose that. Ano yung transpose, bale? Ano yung transpose? Ang transpose is, tutuhugin mo lang to dyan, and i-flip mo siya. Or pag swap mo lang yung rows and columns. Ito ay nasa row 1, ngayon naging column 1. Ito row 2, naging column 2. Row 3, naging column 3, and so forth. Nag-swap lang ang rows and columns. Yun ang transpose. Or ini-flip mo siya dyan. Kumbaga, kung meron ka matrix na ganito, may star dito, ini-flip mo dyan, ang result will be a matrix where the star is here. And then you just need to take the null space. And luckily, you don't really need to do this manually. You can use software such as Python. Actually, I used to give this as a problem before during exam, pero students are taking a lot of time just getting the null space. So, hindi ko na siya binibigay. Pero, binibigay ko na yung null space and they just have to interpret what does the null space tells us. So, in the rest of the slide, I provided an example on how to calculate the null space. Pakibasa na lang to. I'm not going to teach this. I'm assuming that since meron kayong algebra, na-encounter nyo na yung mga calculations na to before. Kung hindi man, that's okay. We will be using SymPy for this purpose. And I doubt naman that they will give a problem that requires calculation of null space during the board exam because this is time consuming. But for the sake of learning, I put this example in the slide so that interested students will understand how to calculate null space by just looking at each step in this slide. And then of course you need to search why are we doing each of those steps. Or you can just Google null space calculation and you'll understand. So what we actually need. In SymPy, you just need to type this atomic composition matrix. And then type this code. A is matrix X for X in B dot transpose dot null space dot T. And that will give you the null space. The null space will be something like this. The null space is actually the stoichiometric matrix, and we don't really want it to be fractions. So here, as you can see, fractions yung lumabas. we need to times this by 3. Kasi 3 yung nasa denominator to make them whole number. So this is now our new atomic stoichiometric matrix. This is a stoichiometric matrix na may fraction. This is a stoichiometric matrix without the fraction. And that's it. This matrix tells us what are the reactions happening in the system. Kapag negative siya ay nasa reactant side, kapag positive siya ay product. We just need to look at each of the column. So let's take a look at the first column. Please listen carefully in this discussion, guys. So, negative CH2O, negative CH4. That means 2H2O kasi meron ka negative 2 na water. And negative yung carbon monoxide plus 4CO is an equilibrium with yung positive, meron tayong CH4 plus possibly yung CO2, 3CO2. That's it. It's already a balanced equation. Now, you need to look at the second column and do the same. And look at the third column and do the same. And you will end up with the following list of reaction. First column, second column, and third column. So let's inspect. Ito, negative C, water at carbon monoxide, ito yon. Positive C, methane and carbon dioxide, ito yon. Okay? Negative si methane at saka si water. Ito, methane and water, negative. Positive si carbon monoxide and si hydrogen. Carbon monoxide and hydrogen. And take note of the coefficient. Equal siya dito sa kung anong coefficient sa matrix na to. And last column, ganun din. Negative si methane at saka si carbon monoxide. So we have 4 methane plus 2 carbon dioxide forming positive si water at saka si ethylene. So 2H2O plus 3C2H4. I hope that's clear. Once na nakuha mo na yung atomic composition matrix, ito, you need to solve for the stoichiometric matrix using the null space, this B transpose that null space, and then gawin mo lang siyang whole number, and then you can get yung reactions from the columns, from the sign of this stoichiometric matrix. So, meron ako dito example on how to do that in Excel, but I'm not going to teach you this example. You can just use the SymPy script na provided in the previous slide. Since we already covered, I've already gave you an introduction to Python. Just use Python for the rest of our computational activity. It's a lot easier in Python. So we have this example. A mixture of 2 moles of methane and 3 moles of H2O reacts at equilibrium. Actually, this is the same example as before. At 1000 Kelvin and 1 bar. Kanina, ang ginamit natin is Gibbs free energy minimization. This time, we're going to use yung reactions. What is the equilibrium composition? Assuming the only species present at equilibrium are CH4, H2O, CO, H2, and CO2. So, the reactions happening at equilibrium. What are the reactions happening at equilibrium in this example? Actually, that's actually this same problem, I guess. Hindi pala. Magkaibang problem pala siya. So, for a simple problem like this, you can just guess what are the reactions happening. Pero if you cannot guess, then use the technique na binigay ko. So in this example, there are only two reactions happening. H2O plus methane forming carbon monoxide plus hydrogen gas, and 2H2O plus methane forming carbon dioxide plus 4 hydrogen gas. And then the problem tells us that there are 2 moles of methane and 3 moles of water initially. So let me explain this better. So we have a mixture of 2 moles CH4 3 moles H2O. Temperature is 1000 Kelvin. And pressure is 1 bar. What is equilibrium composition? Assuming that the product of the reaction are CH4, H2O, CO, H2, and CO2. For this problem, it's a bit easy kasi konti lang yung chemical species. So, you can try using the matrix approach kanina, or you can just try your chemical intuition. As a chemist, initially, we have 2 moles of CH4 and 3 moles of water. So, of course, magre-react si CH4 plus water, right? Ano kayong product? Ano ba yung wala kanina? Ito, reactant side to CH4 plus water. Ano yung wala kanina? Wala. Ito lahat wala before. Carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and CO2. So we can write either CO plus H2. Then try to balance the equation. So, sa left-hand side, may isang oxygen, may isang carbon. Pasok naman, isang carbon at saka isang oxygen. And then yung H2 ay 6. So, lalagyan ko lang to ng 3. And that is balanced already, right? CH4 plus water forming carbon monoxide plus 3H2. Pero if you use yung technique natin kanina, from the atomic composition matrix, you don't really have to balance kasi balance na yon. Ngayon, pwede rin yung reaction forming CH4 plus water forming carbon dioxide plus CO2 plus H2. Ngayon, bakit hindi ko na lang ba't hindi ko na lang ginawang CH4 plus water forming CO plus CO2 plus H2? Bakit hindi ganyan? Kasi CO and CO2 are competing. CO is incomplete combustion and CO2 is a complete combustion. Ngayon, i-balance ko naman tong pangalawang reaction na to. So, 2 water molecules plus CH4 forming, okay, this is the balance equation. Now that we have a list of chemical reaction, we know that we initially have 2 moles of CH4 and 3 moles of water. However, we have 2 reactions. What's going to happen here? Since we have 2 reactions, we can use the variable x for the first reaction and the variable y for the second reaction. So, itong first reaction, minus x forming carbon monoxide is x, hydrogen gas is x. How about sa second reaction? Dapat parehas lang siya dito ng composition sa first. This is 2 minus x and 3 minus x. Ngayon, sa second reaction, y yung variable natin. So, minus y forming carbon dioxide is y. However, hydrogen gas, meron ka ng hydrogen dito sa unang reaction. So, dito is x because may hydrogen ka na sa unang reaction plus y. Okay, this might be a bit difficult to understand. So, let me repeat. Para hindi kayo mahirapan, ganito ang gawin nyo. Just enumerate all the chemical species. CH4, water, carbon monoxide, hydrogen gas, carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide, methane is 2 moles initially, water is 3 moles, and by a first reaction, ano mangyari? Ito, mabawasan to ng x, ito madagdagan ng x, So, methane, minus x, water, minus x, carbon monoxide, x, hydrogen gas is x. Sa second reaction, ito, mabawasan ng y, madagdagan ng y. So, methane, minus y. Tingnan nyo dito. Water, minus 2y ang water. So, minus 2y. And yung hydrogen gas pala, this is plus 3x. Na pala to. And carbon dioxide, magiging Y. And hydrogen, this is 4Y. Ulitin natin. Plus 4Y. So, for the sake of clarity, ulitin lang natin kasi baka nalito kayo. So, it's either you create this list or direkta kayo dito sa ICE table. It's up to you. So, sa ICE table, magsisimula ka with 2 moles nito, 2 moles nito. Eh, parehas common sila. Common sila dyan. The 2 moles and 3 moles pala. Sa unang reaction, this is minus X. Minus X. This X, 3X. Since parehas dapat to at saka ito, pagkaparehasin natin sila. Minus X to, minus X. And dito, may hydrogen ka na dyan. Ito may hydrogen din dito. Ito 3x na to agad. Kagaya nung nasa unang reaction. Then, tsaka natin i-operate itong pangalawang reaction. Ito minus y. This one is minus 2y. Ito y. And this is plus 4y. Okay? Pwedeng ganyan. Or, pwede kayo mag-enumerate. Mas prefer ko yung enumeration. Kasi, that's, kumbaga, maiiwasan nyo yung pagkakamali pag nag-enumerate kayo. For enumeration, ang kailangan nyo gawin is NCH4 equals NH2O equals NCO equals NH2 equals and NCO2 equals. Ito initially 2. Ito initially 3. And then, magkuha na lang kayo dito. Reaction 1 is minus X plus X plus 3X. Then, i-update nyo dito. So, this is minus X. Si carbon monoxide is X. Hydrogen gas is 3X. Then, ito naman. Minus Y, minus 2Y, plus Y, 4Y. So, CH4 minus Y, water minus 2Y, carbon dioxide is Y, and hydrogen gas plus 4Y. Okay? Once meron na kayo nito, makukuha mo yung N total. N total is just the sum of all of this. Ano kaya yung sum niyan? Hindi ko na muna isa-sum kasi meron naman tayong script later. Then what's next? Alam mo na yung composition. You can make use of the delta G. Delta G to calculate yung KEQ. Ano yung KEQ? We have the formula delta G naught is negative RT ln ng KP. You'll be able to solve for KP. Saan magagaling delta G? Delta G is of course yung summation ng product minus reactant na delta G for each of the reaction. I'm assuming that you still know how to calculate delta G of a reaction using the Gibbs free energy of formation sa likod ng inyong PChem book. So, summation ng delta G ng formation ng product. So, actually, it is summation of B sub I, G sub G sub I naught, where negative sa reactant and positive sa product. Then you can calculate for Kp. And kapag alam nyo na yung Kp, pag alam nyo na yung Kp, you can use this formula. Kp is Ky, mole fraction, multiplied by P total raised to summation of Pi. And you can solve for the equilibrium composition from Ky. So in this case, ano yung Ky? Ky is the equilibrium expression in terms of mole fraction. So we have Ky is mole fraction ni. So we have two equations for Ky, for the first and the second. Or gawin ko na lang Kp1, Kp1 and Kp2. Sa Kp1, we need yung product side is carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So that will be X all over N total times H2 3x plus 4y over N total, may cube all over yung reactant, 2 minus x minus y over N total, times the water is 3 minus x minus 2y over N total, multiplied by P total raised to the summation. In this case, 1 bar naman siya. Ang R na gagamitin lang natin is yung bar. And yung 1 bar naman is almost 1 atmosphere. So, times 1 na lang yan. Kahit ano itong exponent na to. So, this is what we need to solve for Kp1. Kasi 1 bar lang naman yung pressure. Kp2, you need to find the corresponding expression for this. So, I hope that's clear. And that is what we have in this SymPy script. We have two reactions. And then, gumawa ako ng dalawang variable. X, Y. And yung total is just the sum. Sum of the ito rin yung ginawa ko kanina. Water is 3, methane is 2. Ito na yung equilibrium composition in terms of X and Y. And N total is just the sum of all of this. Antong X na to, ito yung carbon monoxide. Antong 3x plus 4y, ito yung H2. Antong y na to, CO2. 3x minus 2y, water. And 2 minus x minus y, that's it, methane. As you can see, it only appears 1. Although dito, dalawang reaction yan, hindi mo pag-a-addan silang lahat. N total is the sum of the N of unique elements. Kasi meron ditong unique molecules, compounds. Dito kasi merong common. So, ang unique natin is carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane, hydrogen, and water. 5 lang. kukunin mo lang dito kung ano yung kanyang composition. Yun ang isasama mo sa N total. So, I hope that's clear. And dito, kinuha ko lang yung mole fraction. XCO is X over N total. XH2 is the H2. Ito yung H2. Tingnan natin to guys. Ang X, mole fraction ni carbon monoxide is X over N total. Mole fraction ni H2 is 3x plus 4y over n total. Mole fraction ni carbon dioxide is y over n total. So I hope you understand kung paano ko ginawa itong second cell. And then the equilibrium constants. This is Kp1 and Kp2. So, nasaan yung Kp1? Look at this. XCO times XH2 raised to cube. Ito yun, no? Mole fraction ni CO multiplied by mole fraction ni H2 raised to cube kasi mayroon kang 3 dyan. Ito yon. All over mole fraction ni H2O times mole fraction ni CH4 kasi ito yung reactant. Yung pangalawa, mole fraction ni CO2 times mole fraction ni H2 raised to 4. Ito yon. All over mole fraction ni methane times mole fraction ni water raised to 2. Then the rest will be the same. Itong dito, number na to is depende sa number of variables mo. Dito kasi is x and y yung variable natin. Kaya 2 yun nandyan. So you will arrive with the same composition doon sa ginamitan natin ng Gibbs free energy minimization. So actually for me, mas maganda yung Gibbs free energy minimization kasi you don't really need to know the reaction. Pero if you know the reactions, pwede nyo rin itong gamitin. And luckily nga, meron tayong way to enumerate all the reactions happening in the system. So I hope that's clear. So the rest of this slide, pwede nyo basahin. Magbibigay muna ako ng example. Actual example that I hope you'll find it give you sufficient background of multi-reaction equilibria before we continue the lecture. Bigay ako ng example. Okay, let's solve the following. Question number 30. For the following reactions, calculate the fractions of a reacted metal M when equilibrium is reached, assuming the ligand is buffered to 0.1 molar. The initial concentration of M is M sub 0. So, paano kaya i-solve tong problem na to? So for the following reactions, calculate the fractions of unreacted metal M when equilibrium is reached, assuming the ligand is buffered to 0.1 molar and the initial concentration of M is M sub 0. So we have a complexation reaction, M plus L forming ML with K1 1.2, M sub L plus L forming ML2 with K2 0.75, ML2 plus L forming ML3 with K3 is equals to 0.52. Paano kaya yan? What is the fraction of unreacted metal? Actually, this is similar to what you have learned in analytical chemistry. I'm not just sure if you really solve problems such as this one. So, to solve this problem, ang tinatanong kasi dyan is fraction of unreacted metal, M, alpha sub M at equilibrium. Alpha sub M is actually the concentration of M, unreacted metal, over the initial concentration, M0. So the ligand is buffered to 0.1, meaning the concentration of your ligand is the same all throughout. To solve this problem, the clue is already here. That is everything that you need to know. M0 is M plus M sub L plus ML2 plus ML3. Ngayon, bakit kaya yan yung ating equation? Kasi all of the metal in this equation comes from M0, right? All of the metal, M plus ML plus ML2 plus ML3, all of the metals, even if meron na siyang ligand, they initially started with M, the unreacted metal. So pag pinag-add mo lahat ng chemical species na may M, the total will be the initial concentration of M, which is M0. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Now, what else yung clue? Of course, K1 is ML over M times L. K2 is ML2 times ML times L. And K3 is ML3 times ML2 times L. Right? Sinulat ko lang yung equilibrium composition. Then we can write M sub 0. Ano yung M? M is still M. Ano yung ML? ML is K1 times L. Ano yung ML2? ML2 is K2 times ML times L. And yung ML3 is K3 times ML2 times L. However, dito meron ka na ulit ML. So, the same ito plus K2, yung ML ulit is K1 times M times L. Ito yon. Ngayon, multiply by L. Plus K3. Ang ML2 nandito ulit. ML2 is ML times L. ito lang pinalitan ko. Everything is the same dito. Plus K3, yung ML is K1 times M times L. Ito yon. And ito, pagkasamahin ko na to, L squared. So, M sub 0 is M plus K1 times M times L plus ito, pagsamahin ko ng K1, K2. K1, K2 times M, itong dalawang L squared plus nagkamali yata ako dito sa pangalawa. Itong ML2 dito ay K2 ML times L. So, hindi pa to K3. K2 lang to. Sorry. Dito is K3. Pero sa loob dito may K2. ML2 is K2 times ML times L. So, K2 times ML times L. And dito, K3, K1, dito K2. So, dito is plus K1, K2, K3 times M times L cube. This is actually what we need. Once you have this equation, you'll notice that we can factor out si M. M sub 0 is M times 1 plus K1 times L plus K1, K2 times L squared plus K1, K2, K3 times L cube. And what we need is alpha M, which is M over M sub 0. So that is M over M sub 0 is simply 1 over 1 plus K1L plus K1, K2 L squared plus K1, K2, K3 L cube. And then you can solve for that, makukuha nyo na yung sagot. That is 0.88 if I remember it right. So, to summarize, you just need a denominator for let's say M forming ML, ML2, ML3, ML4 plus MLN. The denominator is 1 plus K1L plus K1, K2 L squared plus K1, K2, K3 L cube plus K1, K2, K3, K4 L port plus . Okay? Depende sa gaano karami yung N mo. And alpha m is 1 over the denominator. Alpha ml, or the fraction of metal with one ligand, is just the first or the second term, K1L over D. Alpha ni ml2 is yung third term, K1, K2, L squared over D. Alpha ni ml3 is K1, K2, K3, L cubed over D. Alpha ni ml4 is K1, K2, K3, K4, L4 over D, and so on. So I hope that's clear. How about this question number 29? Calculate, given the following set of chemical reaction, calculate the equilibrium pressure when 10 atmosphere of A is mixed with 20 atmosphere of D in the presence of solid QB in a container with fixed volume. The clue is you can use variable x, y, and use shift solve. You need to transform the equation into one variable before using shift solve, since shift solve works only for only one variable. Please retain 5 decimal places in each step, since this problem won't be accurate unless you use up to 5 decimal digits. Also, don't forget that x and y is not the final answer. The answer is equilibrium pressure of each species. So, itong problem na to, so how can we solve this problem? So given the following set of chemical reaction, so for this problem, we don't really need to mind about the solid. Meron kang A gas plus B solid forming C gas, and meron kang D gas plus C gas forming E gas. So in this case, the total pressure is not constant. Yung volume yung constant, so the total pressure can change. So 10 atmosphere of A is mixed with 20 atmosphere of D in the presence of solid QB in a container with fixed volume. Actually, baguhin natin itong problem na to. Gawin na lang natin na 10 moles of A. So gawin na lang natin itong sige, baguhin natin. Baguhin natin to. Gawin lang natin 10 moles of A is mixed with 20 moles of D in a 1 liter container. And given yung KP1 and KP2. K1 na lang. Equilibrium constant. KE1, KE2. In terms of molarity. Para mas madali. So, kailangan mo lang dyan, gumamit ng dalawang variable. Dito is minus x. Ang solid natin papakilaman, magkakaroon ka ng gas. Yung C is x. Dito sa pangalawang reaction, minus y. Ito is gas. Pero dito may x na siya. So, x na to. Minus y. Forming CE is gas. Y na to. And of course, K1 is x over 10 minus x. And K2 will be y over 20 minus y and x minus y. So how do we proceed in this calculation? We have two equations and two unknowns. Pwede ito sa calculator since we can calculate x from here. How do we solve for x? Cross multiply. So we will have x is equals to k1 times 10 minus x. And x is 10 k1 minus k1x. So ano yung x? X plus k1x is 10 k1. And x times the quantity 1 plus k1 is 10 k1. X is 10 k1 over 1 plus k1. Then yung nakuhang x dito, substitute dito, and then shift solve. Makakuha na kayo ng sagot. So I hope naging clear to. Sensya na kasi hindi ko siya ma-demonstrate ng maayos. Hindi tayo face to face. So okay, let's move on to the next part of the lecture. I hope na-guess na ninyo yung paggamit ng multi-reaction equilibria. Dito tayo ngayon sa distribution law. But before we start sa distribution law, mag-break muna siguro tayo ng start tayo ng 11 or hindi 10:30 na lang. Break tayo ng saglit.